minute delay. We are almost set for first pitch for our first game of the day. Rain and lightning throughout the Williston area. Still a slight drizzle and some strong winds, but hoping that the lightning has persisted and that we can finally say play ball. Welcome on back to the Babe Ruth World Series. Still looking to start game one here of pool play here at day 5 of the Babe Ruth World Series with Corey Brooks, David Sugarman on hand. We've got a really good one once we get it going between Tri-Valley and Tallahassee, both 3-0. Winner gets a bye going into the next round in a automatic trip to Friday's semifinals. Let's take a look around the region. Brought to you by West Dakota Chevy Dealers for today's matchup. So it'll be Tri-Valley and Tallahassee. After that, it'll be Puyallup going against Arkadelphia. Both of those teams looking for their first win. Fargo taking on King Philip. And then rounding things out, Mifflin taking on the host, Williston, to round out the schedule. And then tomorrow, quarterfinal games at 5 o'clock and 7:30. We will have coverage through the rest of the tournament. Quarterfinals tomorrow, semifinals Friday, and of course the championship on Saturday. That is your look around the region. Brought to you by West Dakota Chevy Dealers. As things begin to clear up, let's try and make things clear on our keys to the game with our Eventide Senior Living Community keys to the game. Find out more information at eventide.org. No notes the first couple days for Tri-Valley. All run rule wins. They've scored at least 15 runs in every game. At this point, just don't let up, right?
Yeah, you have to keep that aggressive mentality. You have not been challenged in this tournament for the most part, and that makes it difficult to come and bring your A game every single time. But these guys are going to be focused. They understand the value of a bye. They understand the importance of 4-0 at the World Series in a very talented pool in the National Division. So they're going to bring it, but consistency and mentality critical for the Pacific Southwest champions.
For Tallahassee, able to eke out a 7-4 win over Arkadelphia yesterday in 11 innings. However, both squads in that game had chances throughout the extra innings and cost themselves with some risky base running. Can't afford to leave too many runners on against a team like Tri-Valley. How can they make sure that happens?
It has to be, like it says right there, smart base running, right? And so you go into every single pitch. Before that pitch is even thrown, you've got to understand the risk-reward of taking a chance on the bases. Then if the ball's put in play, even further, constantly analyzing. There's a lot of teams in this tournament you can make a riskier play because there's a chance that the other team's going to make a mistake. You don't want to bet on that when you're going against Tri-Valley. You've got to make the right play every single time because these guys have been locked in from the word go.
Your Eventide Senior Living Community keys to the game. Find out more information at eventide.org. Now, our Pro Seed player matchup. Need seed, think Pro Seed. Two guys who have been hitting the cover off the ball. Matteo Minetti, 5 hits and 3 RBIs for Tri-Valley. And for Mark Metcalf in Tallahassee, he has been leading the charge for them. 4 hits and 2 RBIs. And if my eyes did not deceive me, I do believe we just saw more lightning just past the outfield, which should mean another 30-minute delay. We are sorry to tease you like this, unfortunately. Let's take a look while we're still here at what the Tallahassee starting lineup will be. They will be in the field first when they take the field as the home team on the scoreboard. Behind the plate is Colby Tatter, and throwing strikes and balls on the mound, Sonder Dinkelman. We saw Dinkelman go out with an injury, which we found out today, sliding into second, hurt his finger a little bit, found out everything's okay, just needed to ice it and rest a little bit. He is ready to go back out onto the mound today and hopefully throw another great game because he was in the midst of a fantastic performance a couple days ago in the second game for Tallahassee against Puyallup. Left to right in the infield, third base Mark Metcalf, shortstop Nate Dietz, second base Miles Mott Smith. What a performance he had yesterday on the mound and with the bat in his hands. J.W. Meeks, been a consistent force in the field and certainly offensively. Left to right in the outfield, Cole Lawson, Brendan Basden, and Bradford Ray. That is your Tallahassee defense starting lineup, brought to you by Vogel Law Firm. At this point, both teams are still on the field, so we will just take a short break and come back with hopefully first pitch. We will keep you posted. Lineups, and after an hour and a half to think about it, Tallahassee had the nerve to switch things up on us. That's baseball for you. So instead of Saunders Dinkelman taking the mound, he will be in the field today. He'll be over on third base. It'll be Mark Metcalf out in left field. Nate Dietz on short. And Cole Lawson moves in from left field to take the mound today. And Lawson with one of the better pitching performances in this tournament. Lawson, the game one pitcher in the win over West Fargo, went a complete game in that one. No runs, 9 strikeouts to just 1 walk, and 4 hits. See if he can battle what's still a pretty persistent breeze here at the start of this one after a 92-minute delay.
Yeah, so all that really happened there is Saunders was ready to go. This game was about to start. So he had finished his warm-ups. He was ready to come into the game. And then like a Major League rain delay, he gets too cooled off. And so even though you can still throw him, and it's a little bit more flexible at the 14-year-old level, these kids aren't throwing 100 miles an hour yet, you still want to be cautious, especially understanding that you're going forward in this tournament no matter what happens. So you switch it up, you get another good arm there in Cole Lawson, and you let Saunders Dinkelman probably go back at it tomorrow, or Tallahassee's hoping in a couple of days, because they don't want to be playing tomorrow. Winner of this one does not.
So it'll be Cole Lawson on the mound instead. And Tri-Valley, the most explosive offensive team in this tournament, is up to bat first. With Corey Brooks, David Sugarman on hand. Thank you for sticking with us or coming back. We hope that the rest of the afternoon and day is clear. This is the first of 4 games today, so just a tick behind schedule, but we are ready to roll. The leadoff man is Dylan Souza for Tri-Valley. Battle of 2 3-0s. Winner punches their ticket directly to Friday's semifinals. Other still moving on, but work to do then in the quarterfinal round tomorrow. First pitch, and we are off and running on a ball to Souza.
First pitch at 12:34 Central Time.
1-1 to Souza. Souza been pretty solid throughout the first 3 wins for Tri-Valley. 2 for 6 with 3 RBIs. Lawson in there on the outside. The 1-2, Souza with a base hit to lead things off. Worth the wait for Tri-Valley to start this one.
Yeah, you're kind of hoping if you're rooting from back in the Sunshine State that long delay cooled off the Tri-Valley bats. Not so for Dylan Souza right out of the gate. Him and Hudson Flora have constantly flipped who's hitting first, who's hitting second. It hasn't really stopped either one of them. They've been incredibly productive.
Yeah, over 3 games for Tri-Valley, 34 combined hits. A 16-1 win against Arkadelphia, 15-1 over West Fargo, and 15-0 over Puyallup. Throwback to first. Now Hudson Flora at the plate, so there has not been an awful lot of doubt left from this Tri-Valley team. This, on paper, their toughest task to date. Ball gets away from Tatter. Early second base on the wild pitch for Souza.
It's difficult for Cole Lawson, too. He didn't think he'd be pitching today, at least not right out of the gate. And so it requires a mentality shift, in addition to just that odd schedule. You got to get warmed up kind of quick. You're not really sure when you're going to go out there. And against the top offense, arguably in the country at this point, so far in the World Series, it's a tall task.
1-1 to Flora, and love the attitude from Tri-Valley head coach Andrew Crable. You know, we were talking near the dugout about 30 minutes ago where it was still extremely windy. It was still drizzling at the time. Tough to say exactly what was going to happen, as it's 2-1 to Flora. And I said, Coach, you really think you're going to start playing 30 minutes? Hey, we're ready to play ball. Andrew Crable is just sort of always intense, always ready to go. I don't know that there was somebody both more calm and impatient than him. 2-2 on the breaking ball from Lawson.
Sometimes you need that type of leadership. There's a bunch of different ways to go about it, especially at a 14-year-old level. That certainly works, and that business approach has brought big profits to this Tri-Valley team.
2-2. Flora over to second. Mott Smith on the 4-3 outs. It does get Souza to third.
It's really interesting for Mike Harrison here. Miles Mott Smith's obviously been really good in this tournament, but yesterday Mark Metcalf played probably the best second base we've seen here at Artie Knopfett Stadium. And originally he was going into third. Now he's in left, so a testament to the defensive flexibility of this Tallahassee group, trusting Miles Mott Smith today at the Keystone.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of versatility throughout this tournament, and to Mott Smith's credit, he had a fantastic game as well over the last couple of days. Pitched, closing things out. I should say closing things out, really ended up being a complete game for him, coming into the fourth and pitching the last 7 to close things out against Arkadelphia. It's the first pitches in the dirt to Grant Henninger.
Nobody has more RBI in the tournament than this guy right here. 9 runs batted in 3 games played. That is an absurd pace.
Chance to crack double digits with a man on third. 2 balls and no strikes.
Also hitting .600 through those 3 games, 6 hits, 10 at-bats, 5 runs scored. I mean, any number you want to look at for this guy, it's just absolutely bonkers.
2-1 to him. I mean, we've seen a lot of impressive bats in this tournament, but he has been so consistent, big hits every game. What has made his approach so good?
You see it right here. He's patient. He waits for it. And when a mistake is made on the other side, he doesn't make one. And it certainly helps when you constantly have base runners on. If your team has scored about 50 runs over the course of 3 games, confidence tends to flow from that.
And this time, it's a walk. So on base once again for Henninger. And that brings up short George Schmidt.
Coming to the plate, center fielder number 16, George Schmidt.
Doesn't get any easier. One of the few guys with a better batting average than Grant Henninger is George Schmidt.
Yeah, Schmidt hits in every game. 1 for 2, 1 out of 1, and 2 out of 2. So hasn't been up a ton. Or hasn't had a ton of at-bats, I should say. He's also been walked quite a few times. And 6 RBIs in this tournament, along with 3 walks. So he gets on base and he drives in base runners. He's got 2 on with just 1 out.
Yeah, 4 walks in this tournament, so 9 total plate appearances, plus a hit by pitch. So he's been up 10 times. He's been a core part of the offense.
Schmidt in between the right side, and early run. Business as usual to start things off for Tri-Valley. Souza scores.
Good piece of hitting, good piece of base running, too, by Grant Henninger. Waiting for it, goes by, knows he has plenty of time to get to second base on a base knock. And easy base running for Dylan Souza.
Yeah, that little dance in front of the baseball. It's not interference. I don't know that it's
there was no play there. No. There was no play there. He was just getting out of the way so it didn't hit him.
So an RBI single to start things off for Schmidt. His 7th RBI of the tournament. So the 2 guys on the base paths, Henninger on second and Schmidt, in an offense where you could pretty much pick out anybody as the go-to guy, have been the best. Matteo Minetti up next. Hasn't been too shabby himself.
No.
And that'll drop and continue. The bases loaded. Good throw in from Baisden in center.
I was about to say, through the first couple of days of this tournament, I think Matteo Minetti would have been at the forefront of this Tri-Valley offensive showcase, and still quite a potent bat. Deposits it in center, and Tri-Valley, I mean, they just look far and above the rest of everything here at Artie Noffet right now.
Yeah, got to remember as well, Tallahassee, of course, affected by the delay. Also, an 11-inning grind-em-out ball game yesterday. So, wonder how much juice Tallahassee has. And, of course, if they could get this win and get that extra day's rest, it would be much appreciated. Robertson with the bases juiced, 1 away. 3 straight base runners and back-to-back base hits.
Yeah, you mentioned that 11-inning game. When I was talking with Mike Harrison before this one, he said, yeah, right after that, we shut it down. The guys have been active, having fun, enjoying Williston, but yesterday it was get to bed early.
Robertson put to bed by Baisden. Another great throw, and that saves a run.
Yeah. That's outstanding work by Brennan Baisden. Constant awareness of where that ball is, what he needs to do, and the arm is there to back it up. Good relay, too. You can't let that one go.
So coming up on man number 7 in the order, but only 1 run right now for Tri-Valley. Great chance to keep it that way. Eli Davidson up. 1 for 1 in the win 2 days ago against Puyallup. Tri-Valley with the day off yesterday. So played the opening 3 days of this tournament. Yesterday off, sat back and watched things played out in what was top to bottom probably our most competitive day. We had the 11-inning game to start things off, and then we had a combined no-hitter and a 2-0 shutout in the nightcap. 2 fun games in between as well. Fouled off by Davidson. So many great performances yesterday, but how about that Eau Claire combined pitching performance, that no-hitter, and Fargo, to their credit, with Blake McCarthy on the mound, find the ways to keep him in it.
Yep, there's no question. McCarthy was great, but what a showing for Cameron Buckman. It's his 2 RBI double, the only offense in the game. Then he comes in and finishes the no-no with a really strong showing himself. Eau Claire in the driver's seat as a result.
1-2 to Davidson.
And Eli originally supposed to pitch this game, so we'll see when Tri-Valley takes the field if they take the same approach as Tallahassee, or say, he was able to stay warm enough during the delay, let's let him roll.
Weiler, the starter in that Eau Claire game, who played well as well. Got to give him some credit as the 1-2 is fouled away.
There's no question. That no-hitter doesn't happen if Evan Weiler isn't incredible for about half the game. So both of those guys making a lifetime memory here at Artie Noffet Stadium. Not something many have done on the grandest stage in this sport.
Tri-Valley trying to make the memory of going 4-0 and trying to tack on offense here in the first. 1-2. Davidson goes foul again.
Lengthy inning here for Cole Lawson. 25th pitch coming up. One of the longest first innings we've seen. A tough start for Lawson, both circumstances and opponent. But if he's able to get one more big pitch here, you consider it an absolute victory.
Davidson, 2 RBIs in this tournament to date. Could get a third, not meant to be. Dickelman from the mound to third, looking like a smart move. Where he goes.
Yeah, this kid's incredible. You know, he gets a little banged up, running down to second, but comes back the next day, plays defense. Played it really well there. Tri-Valley's defense going to try and match it. For the most part, this is the group we've seen. It's a really confident group in the field as well for the front runners here in this tournament. They've played really nice all across the board. Cade Robertson in left field, I think, is probably the main highlight, but they've all made nice plays over the course of the tournament, unsurprisingly, for a team that's in their position.
Yeah, rest of the starting lineup brought to you by Vogel Law Firm. Ryan Cooney on third base, shortstop Jake Tsunemoto, Souza manning second base, Aiden Foley on first, left to right in the outfield, Cade Robertson, George Schmidt and Grant Henninger. That is the Tri-Valley defense. And we saw a change made for Tallahassee on the mound just before this one started. Not the case for Tri-Valley. They will stick with Eli Davidson.
Yep, it's his spot. They say, go get it, overcome the adversity on the field here and make it work. They kept that arm warm enough. And again, these are the decisions that go into a game. It helps, too, I think, for Tri-Valley. Even though they only scored one, if you're making an assessment of your team today, you're like, all right, we're still hitting the ball well. We only put up the one, but we know our offense is there. So let's let Eli keep his spot in our rotation, maintain that maximum flexibility, and see if we can't reset everything tomorrow.
And worth noting for Tri-Valley, able to get 3 base hits in that opening inning, 3 base hits and the bases loaded. But good job by Tallahassee, and with the way Tri-Valley has exploded for double-digit runs in innings and big innings throughout this tournament, happy to only give up 1, and now it is Mark Metcalf to lead things off for Tallahassee. Metcalf, one of our players to watch coming into this one, and for good reason. Was strong yesterday, 3 for 6, get up a couple extra times with the 11-inning game, had 2 RBIs in that one and scored.
He was awesome. That was very much a breakout game for Mark Metcalf. The talent was always there as they came into Williston, North Dakota, and he got to showcase it all about 24 hours ago.
2 balls and no strikes to Metcalf in the leadoff spots. In there on the outside for strike 1.
Strike 1 says Pete Borseth behind the plate. Brett Ingebrigtsen is at first. Andy Gendrew manning second. And Kevin Kerr, our umpire, over at third base.
Dribbler up to the mound. Davidson with the dart to Foley.
That's a great idea. Swing away a couple of times, put the defense on that back heel, and then try and drop one. But Mark has to lunge a long way to get that. You create that forward momentum, ball flies straight to Eli Davidson.
Next up, Saunder Dinkelman, who just made that great play on third. Now at the dish, Davidson. Talked about his pitching throughout this tournament. Didn't have to pitch a lot in a shortened game against West Fargo. He pitched 2 innings. Christian Morales actually ended up getting the win, pitching 3 there. But Davidson in 2 innings, gave up 1 earned, struck out 2, only walked 1, so short sample size. But like I said, Tri-Valley has been running away with a lot of these games, has been able to preserve arms in pretty much any way they'd like here. Haven't played a full 7 up to this point yet. Tallahassee trying to make sure they do, or maybe give them a taste of their own medicine.
Still plenty of baseball here. Eli Davidson looking strong. But, yeah, this game, we knew coming in. You had a feeling right after the first day, this is going to be a big one.
1-2, high. Tsunomoto makes the play.
A rangy play made to look simple. It is not. There are teams in this tournament that have seen that ball in the dirt, but Jake does a great job. He goes 1 step backwards just in case, but then comes straight in, and those balls are going to be extra tricky today with the wind coming in pretty good. Straight from center field towards the plate. Everything's going to get knocked down.
Looking for a 1-2-3 frame. You know, the wind blowing in pretty hard right now. Looking at the flags out in center field. Up the middle, this one gets by Davidson, gets by Souza, and first base runner today is Nate Dietz for Tallahassee.
Good placement by Nate Dietz. This would have been an unreal play for Dylan Souza. He's got to go a long way up the middle. It's a testament to his range that he almost even got there, but a base knock for Nate Dietz puts him in business with 2 outs.
So not a 1-2-3 frame, and now Colby Tatter up. Colby Tatter was fantastic yesterday. Some clutch plays behind the plate. Threw out a couple Arkadelphia base runners that at the time represented potential go-ahead runs and potential walk-off runs. Kept him in it and was pretty good with the bat in his hand as well. 2 for 5 and a run. 2 outs and 1 on.
Probably the most important position here at the World Series, that consistent catcher, Colby Tatter. has been, whoa, almost. Colby Tatter has been as good as it gets. Probably the top defensive option we've seen. There's a few in that running, but Tatter, man, it's defensive runs saved and games saved for him.
Continuing to keep an eye on Dietz at first. Finally, first pitch to Tatter. Misses, ball one.
And Eli goes a bunch of moves over. That makes that eventual first pitch a little bit tricky sometimes. But when you trust your stuff, you can throw over to first with regularity and still come right back. And Davidson's shown the ability to withstand pretty much anything so far on the hill.
One-0, Tatter pings to Tsunemoto. The toss to Souza at second for the out. We go to the second. It's a 1-0 lead for Tri-Valley. But the Tri-Valley faithful braved the elements here for about 90 minutes. Wind was blowing pretty hard. The rain was coming down, lightning in the area. Fans for both sides stuck it out.
Yep.
And now they are enjoying some baseball on what, frankly, despite some wind, is a pretty pleasant afternoon.
Yeah, wind's certainly howling, but as long as it stays overcast, because of the rain, it's certainly the coolest day we've had here at R.D. Knopfit Stadium. It's been in the 90s pretty much exclusively, so that part of it is nice. I think the batters would certainly like a little bit less wind, as their balls are going to get knocked down pretty routinely. Cole Lawson might be okay with it, though. He's going to try and bounce back here after an up-and-down first inning, but he really stifled Tri-Valley. One run against this team. That works.
Yeah, only gives up the one run, did give up 3 hits, and left the bases loaded. It was bases loaded with 1 out, and then fly out to center, and then a great play just around foul territory on third by Saunder Dinkelman to end the inning. And now it is 8, 9, 10 up in the order for Tri-Valley. Foley, Tsunemoto, and Cooney will come up to the plates. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today and all week long. Of course, we've had all 16 games up to today. Today, game 17 of pool play. We'll have 3 more after this today. And then we will continue with our 2 quarterfinal games tomorrow, the semis Friday, and the championship Saturday. Been a treat to be here in Williston, the Babe Ruth capital of North Dakota. Foley up to start things off. Foley, solid throughout this tournament, been on base every game. 2 for 6 with with an RBI. Has been walked in every game as well, including 2 in the most recent game against Puella. One-0, Foley takes a hack foul. Outside into the dirt, Lawson missing, not by much. That pitch count at 28 right now. Foley evens the count at 2-2.
Important to get off to a good start here for Cole Lawson. Pitching debut in the most challenging circumstances possible. Make that 1 inning the lone blip inning and get back to it. He's got a chance here against Foley.
2-2 in the dirt.
Just missed the release point right there. That'll happen. You let that ball go a little bit too late. Skip it a couple feet short.
Loaded count on the leadoff man, Foley. It'll stay that way.
A few fans still braving the wind and very, very light rain. The grand majority of the attendants here right beneath us in the grandstands here at R.D. Knopfit Stadium. They've got the cover, Everyone down the lines, though, and there's a good crowd on both sides. Still hanging out.
Payoff in there for strike 3, to the surprise of Foley and to the delight of Tallahassee.
Cole Lawson picks up his first strikeout in emphatic fashion here. Just drops that in, that 12-6 motion. That's a nice pitch.
Over the plate, shortstop number 14, Jake Tsunomoto.
9 and 10 next in the lineup, Jake Tsunomoto. Outside, Tsunomoto 2 for 7 so far in this tournament with a pair of RBIs. One. And there for strike 2. The trend for Tri-Valley over these first 3 games is, a short or nothing really going on first inning offensively. And then after that, that second or third inning is when they usually begin to erupt. Lawson trying to buck the trend. Good throw from short from Dietz for the out.
Well struck by Tsunomoto, challenging most shortstops. Can be a pathway to success. Those throws across the diamond have been tricky. Not for Nate Dietz. Perfectly done.
And for Tri-Valley, as it's Ryan Cooney to round things out here at the bottom of the order. Had all 16 runs against Arkadelphia in the tournament opener in the 3rd inning, as that one runs way inside on Cooney. In Game 2 against West Fargo, nothing going on in the first couple of innings, and then a 6-run third to go up 10-1, and never looked back from there. And then 15-0 against Puyallup. Most of the runs in that one in the later innings of a short game. 2-0 lifted, past Dietz, and a base hit with 2 outs.
Yeah, 1-2-3 inning against this offense is a lot to ask for. They've been few and far between here. So Cooney was always going to battle, make things challenging for you. And if you're Cole Lawson, you just forget about it here. That's a good pitch. He went down and scraped that thing as it was bending away and towards the dirt. So you tip your cap, say, all right, let's get after Souza here. Try and prevent him from going 2 for 2.
Yeah, back to the top of the order. Souza had that leadoff single, was the lone run that came around to score there in the first. Souza now with a hit in 3 of the 4 games here in Williston for Tri-Valley. He's yet to have a multi-hit game. Lawson into the glove of Dinkelman. Beats out the throw. Dinkelman did all he could, but Souza with the base knock.
Again, it's about putting it in a good spot here. You don't have to hit it at maximum speed. That's 5-6 hole. Cut off well by Dinkelman. For every other time that's happened in the tournament, it's been a mistake for the third baseman to cut that off before the shortstop got to it. Not that time for Dinkelman. A really nice throw, challenging the runner, Souza. Dylan's just too quick.
So Tri-Valley looking for a little 2-out run here in the top of the second. 2 on, 2 outs. Both runners were motioning to go, and now they'll both get the scoring position.
It's just no margin for error against this TV team. You had them 2 outs, everything was cruising, and then a couple of quick, well-placed baseballs, and all of a sudden, Hudson Flores got a huge chance. You got to attack here because you know Henninger wants it.
Flora, only 1 hit in this tournament, does have 2 RBIs. Up in a big spot. Tri-Valley left the bases loaded in the last inning. Look to the first base umpire. Flora didn't go ahead 2-0.
Yeah, he's had 2 at-bats with runners in scoring position, like you said. One time he got a hit, 1 swing. Try number 3 here.
(2-0), too far inside. Good block by Tatter, and now it's all Flora.
Yep. And if you're Huddy Flora right here, you can sit on your bat. You're going to get to 3-1, or he's going to walk you, and you're going to let Grant Henninger go to work with the bases loaded.
(3-0). 4 pitches, 4 balls, a walk for Flora, and that brings up the aforementioned Henninger, who has just been dominant throughout this tournament. 9 RBIs in 3 games. On in the first inning with a walk. Now for the second straight inning, the bases are loaded here with 2 outs for Tri-Valley, and a quick visit on the mound after 46 pitches for Cole Lawson.
Here's a stat that tells you in one pair of numbers how good Grant Henninger has been, but how good this Tri-Valley offense has been. Grant Henninger is 3 for 4 with the bases loaded. They've played 3 games, and he's had 4 different chances with the bases loaded, and he's hit 3 of them.
It says something about the team, and it says something about him. And like you mentioned earlier, you always want an opportunity. As someone new is going to get an opportunity on the mound, Cole Lawson moving to the outfield. And there'll be a new pitcher on the mound. We'll take a short break, get that new pitcher for you when we return. A new man on the mound, Bradford Ray, coming in to replace Cole Lawson after an inning and 2/3, and comes in a tricky spot. 2 outs, however, the bases loaded, and the bat that has driven in 9 runs in this tournament, Grant Henninger, steps to the plate.
A rude welcome as possible here for Bradford Ray. We talked about how Cole Lawson got put into a difficult spot. For Bradford Ray, it might be even more challenging. This next pitch he throws is going to be his first here at the World Series, and he does it with the bases juiced.
Yeah, difficult situation for Lawson. Saunders Dickelman was set to start his second game after the delay. There was a switch made, so Dickelman over on third. Lawson gets the start. Was able to get out of trouble and only give up 1 run in the first. Now he could be on the hook for 3 more, or his buddy Ray could get him out of trouble.
Again, with Saunders getting shaken up, Tallahassee being cautious. He's still in the game, still playing, but they didn't have him pitch today.
Henninger on with a walk up the middle. Into the glove, and there from Miles Mott Smith. Mott Smith, a huge play on second, and for the second straight inning, the bases are loaded and nobody comes home. Going to the bottom of the second, and credit to Tallahassee 14U All-Stars. Bases loaded in back-to-back innings for Tri-Valley. They've only got 1 run to show for it. A lot, especially considering the bats that Tri-Valley has brought with them to Williston. Still a ways to go, but right now the deficit only 1, and Tallahassee comes up to the plate for the second time to take on Eli Davidson, who made pretty quick work of things in the first, gave up 1 base hit, but got out on only 12 pitches.
Yeah, he's looked strong so far, and they'll continue to lean on him. He's their guy as far as it goes, and you just never know with this Tri-Valley team when the launching pad's going to be there. But to this point in the tournament, you have to give Tallahassee a tip of the cap as the best pitching team, and through the first 2 innings, they have found a way. You know, you can give up all the base runners in the world, but if you've got 1 run on the board, it doesn't really make much of a difference.
So it will be J.W. Meeks to start things off. 5, 6, and 7 up in the order for the Tallahassee 14U All-Stars. Davidson misses high for ball 1. So a reminder of what's at stake here. Both these teams are 3-0. So worst case scenario in a loss, your team is still moving on to tomorrow's quarterfinals. The difference is if your team's a winner, they get to sit back and just watch it play out tomorrow and get an automatic bye into Friday's semifinals. So that's what's on the line here to start the day. 3 straight balls to Meeks. Meeks 3 for 10 in this tournament. And thought he was going to get a walk. Instead, I'll step back into 3-1. 2 for 3 in the opening round, 1 for 2 in game 2. Was 0 for 5 yesterday. He did have a couple productive at-bats and moved some base runners along. Just couldn't find his way on base. Now the count runs full. Payoff, Meeks. Third into the chest of Cooney, 5-3.
Good at bat by J.W. Meeks, still needing to get Eli Davidson to throw some pitches here. So you work through 6, get up to start, but Davidson bounces back still. You give your guys a chance to do some in-game scouting here against Eli Davidson.
Yeah, for what it's worth, 6 pitches in that at-bat. That was half the total he had in the first with 12. So
Right.
A little bit better of a look here, and now it's Bradford Ray's turn. Ray, who just came in to replace Cole Lawson on the mound, was able to get him out of trouble, combined with a good play from Miles Mott-Smith on second. And time called by Ray. One levitates high to right. Hedinger with the F9.
So far, so good for Eli Davidson. The 1 single to Nate Dietz with 2 outs, and they immediately erase that. Just leaving that on the outside part, forcing a bit of protection, and an easy play for Hedinger and right.
That's plate number 43.
It's Lawson at the dish now. Lawson, big part of the win yesterday. 2 for 5 in that ball game. Scored 2 runs as well. A hit in every game so far here at the World Series. Start of the first inning in 2/3 today. It'll be a 1-2-3 frame. Davidson there on the mound and doing steady work. We go to the third. Third, it's a whole lot better than what we had for about 90 minutes that delayed things before this one, as Bradford Ray comes out for his first full inning on the mound. Came in with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and once again, early on here, got Tallahassee out of trouble.
No doubt about it, and that's been the name of the game. These relievers for Tallahassee, they've been just as good as the starters. The highlight, of course, is Dietz after the Dinkelman injury, but top to bottom, these guys can pitch. Even the dudes we haven't seen before have been good so far. And you got to give a lot of credit to Mike Harrison, too, because he's clearly got his finger on the pulse of his team. He knows who's got it that day, when to make a move there. He pulled Cole Lawson pretty quickly there, turns, and all of a sudden gets 1 pitch, 1 out. Bradford Ray looks like an all-star. He's don't throw 1 pitch.
All right, well, here comes pitch number 2. George Schmidt up at the plate. This was a part of the order that gave Tallahassee some trouble in the first. The only 1 run on the board, but the bases have been loaded a couple of times, and uncharacteristically, Tri-Valley has not been able to bring all the runners around. 3 hits in the first frame, only 1 run to show for it. 2 in the last inning, no runs to show for it. Schmidt with the lone RBI today, an RBI single, fouled away. Schmidt now with a hit in every game of this tournament. and perfect the last couple games since the first game at the plate. 1 for 1 with a couple of walks, and 2 for 2 with a walk and 4 RBIs in the win over Puella. One, two to Schmidt. Schmidt rocked right down the middle. Still perfect.
Yeah, just no stopping these guys right now. Pitching's been strong for Tallahassee, but Tri-Valley's going to get theirs every single inning. You just put this one back from where it came from, timed up perfectly and right down the middle.
That'll be Matteo Minetti. He followed up Schmidt's RBI single in the first with a single of his own. Look over to Schmidt. Minetti now with a hit in 3 of the 4 games here for Tri-Valley, as well at the World Series. Big break there. Just fell off the table for Bradford Ray, and it's 0-2. Oh, 2 in the dirt. Good block from Colby Tatter.
Again, Colby Tatter showcasing the defensive ability here. It's made him a big part of these Tallahassee wins.
You can still see those elements, the jerseys billowing in the wind for both squads right now.
Yeah.
Both the squads from Florida and California getting a taste of that North Dakota wind. Foul tipped? No. Originally thought it was foul tipped into the glove of Tatter. Instead, looked like it took a piece of Minetti.
And that's Mike Harrison arguing that was tipped, didn't hit him.
Certainly tough to see on the live swing.
Right. The question is, did he hit it first? Definitely caught him in the leg. Did he manage to make contact with it before it got there? Let's see. Yeah, he did.
From that angle, certainly. The call stays. Runners on first and second. So potentially a little gift for Tri-Valley, as if they needed it.
Right. One of those things, too, you know, it barely touches the bat, so it can be a tricky call. We get the benefit of frame by frame up here in the booth.
Absolutely. These umpires have been doing a fantastic job throughout the tournament. That one a close call, but it puts Robertson in the driver's seat with nobody out and 2 on. Oh, 1 to Robertson. 0 for 1 for him today. Flew out to center in the first. Oh, 1 tit back, and so good chance for Ray to pick up his first out. Oh, 2. Swung on, looking for 2. Mott Smith starts it up. Now they're looking for the third. Schmidt going home. Wow, nearly a triple play. Instead, Schmidt gets home, but still great play in the field for 6-3 on the double play.
Boy, they have found different ways to avoid trouble. Have Tallahassee. They almost invented a brand new one here at Unconventional Stadium. We have not seen anything close to a triple play. Nearly did. Great attention paid by these defenders, and just by a hair, tremendous base running by Schmidt to keep the opportunity alive here and add at least one.
2 outs for 1 run. The way that this Tri-Valley team hits, you got to imagine Tallahassee pretty happy with that, as Eli Davidson will try and help his own cause.
The rare baseball scoring quirk, you do not get an RBI when you hit into a double play, but still productive here as Tri-Valley looks to build the lead.
1-0 to Davidson. And credit to this Tallahassee team. The 90-minute rain today, the 11 innings yesterday, the Tri-Valley team in front of them to begin with, and they have found ways through these first 3 innings to put the clamps on them. Davidson, scooped by Dinkelman. Meeks, Skies with the reach for the out. One comes home for Tri-Valley to make it 2-0. Dinkelman ending the frame. Here at the Babe Ruth World Series on Beck, brought to you by Farmers Union Insurance, Dakota Community Bank, Women's Way, Bell Bank, and BASF. We create chemistry. Early 2-0 lead for Tri-Valley over Tallahassee as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. With Corey Brooks, David Sugarman, and the rest of our great Beck Sports crew on hand on what has been a fun few days. This will be the last long day. 4 games today and then just 2 over the next couple before the championship on Saturday. And on a day like today, especially you have a game like this, teams fighting for a bye. Later in the day, teams will be fighting just to make sure they try and get to tomorrow. Start to see some of that fatigue. Who can fight through it? It'll be interesting later today.
Yeah, for the most part, these guys are used to it. They've played a bunch of games together. It's not true for every team here, including the one at the plate right now, but doesn't matter. Played a lot of baseball here. Again, 14 years, kind of that senior season. These guys are ready to move on to high school ball, Legion ball, things like that. So they've got enough experience to weather the storm, kind of pun intended with how this one started.
Davidson with a 1-2-3 inning in the 2nd. It'll be Hain, Mott, Smith, and Baisden in the 3rd.
You saw those flags there at the top of this inning. Those flags were not in such good shape here right before we started. That Williston flag in the middle was hanging by a thread, but the folks here at Unconventional Stadium get everything reset to keep the atmosphere here at the World Series.
2-1 on the foul off to Hain. There, Grundall and company doing a good job all week long, keeping things moving as smoothly as possible when Mother Nature has allowed. Today, the only day with any kind of out of weather delay. Frankly, it's only welcome because of a little bit of a cooler day here. In the 80s and 90s, the majority of the first 4 days here.
Yeah, wind still howling pretty good. That flag just about full extension, straight in from center. Getting gusts of up to about 40 miles an hour before we started, and those are the ones where you just sit there, hold on to the camera, and we'll try and keep the show going for you here because that thing was howling.
Hain, Cooney, out.
Boy, the defense in this game for both teams. And again, it's not all that surprising based on the caliber that these two have set here in Williston, but that doesn't make it any less impressive. You're picking balls out of the dirt there as a catcher. Hudson Flores done a great job of that. In the middle infield, you've seen guys continue to make plays across the diamond. It's just a cut above the average expectation at this level.
Mott Smith pings one to Tsunomoto at short, dashes one for the 2nd out.
Again, right there, left side of the infield, second verse, same as the first, doesn't matter. Tsunomoto has been money.
Yeah, the defense for both of these teams. Tri-Valley's averaging giving up less than 1 run a game. 1 run in each of the first 2, and then a shutout win over Puyallup, 15-0 in their third game. Tallahassee, slightly more human, but only barely. They shut out West Fargo 3-0, beat Puyallup 8-1, and then beat Arkadelphia in 11 yesterday while still only giving up 4. So less than, or about 2 runs a game there as well. Two balls and no strikes to Brennan Baisden at the bottom of the order. That'll wrap things around with Mark Metcalf. If Tallahassee can avoid their second straight 1-2-3 frame.
Yeah, if he gets Baisden, it'd be 1 over the minimum first time through, and a really strong showing from Davidson.
Baisden puts it near Foley, foul.
The only one to exceed the 3 per inning was Nate Dietz. His single in the first disrupted the rhythm, but hadn't slowed down Davidson in the slightest.
Deuce is wild. Baisden goes down swinging. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings and the first strikeout for Eli Davidson. Top 4 from this one. Some Seminole fans have made the trip here to Williston and braving the elements here on the final day of pool play. Their squad is up 2-0 right now as they enter the 4th inning of work. Bradford Ray back on the mound for Tallahassee. He replaces Cole Lawson after 1 1/3. Came into some tricky spots, inherited bases loaded in the second. Since then, he has been fantastic.
Yeah, the defense behind him has been great. Obviously, that double play is the highlight, in addition to that 1 pitch, 1 out as he came into the game. And you're still just trying that exact same mission here. Limit Tri-Valley as much as possible. Give your bats time to get going. Eventually, the adrenaline of the moment's going to fight through that fatigue these guys are probably feeling after playing 11, but they need time to get it rolling.
Especially want to have time against a Eli Davidson pitching performance that has sent 6 straight down, back-to-back 1-2-3 innings in the second and third. Aiden Foley 0 for 1 today. 1-1 as we start off this 4th frame. It will be 8, 9, 10, Foley, Tsutomoto, and Cooney in the dirt. And 2 balls and 1 strike, no harm for the leadoff man. Just missing. Ray a little astonished, thought he had that pitch, instead it's 3-1.
A great spot for Aiden Foley. Long at bat the first time up, saw 7 pitches and a full count. Not all that far behind in round 2.
3-1, count runs full. Another long at bat.
Yeah.
Last time it was Lawson who was still in the game, got the best of him. Foley was sent down looking. Payoff, not this time. Foley on with a walk.
Yeah, the 2 extremes of the full count. The only 2 3-2s belong to Aiden Foley. 1 strikeout, 1 walk.
So down to Tsutomoto. Grounded out to short his last time up. Tsutomoto showing bunt.
Almost always on the first pitch, we've seen that slash, show bunt, pull it back because the runner's taken off. But that time Foley stays put.
Normally an ultra-aggressive Tri-Valley team on the base paths. Haven't seen that as much today. Got to advance on a couple of wild pitches. This time they're just trying to avoid a double play. They're able to get Foley at second. And a little frustration from Mott Smith.
Yeah, the Tallahassee fans don't like that. There's no intent there. Well, at least there's not a lot of intent. He's going for the bag, but also happens to disrupt the double play turn. That's just baseball.
Yeah, Mike Harrison will come out and have a discussion with the second base umpire about it.
Yeah, and again, especially at the 14-year-old level, I understand this for Coach Harrison for two reasons. Number one, first and foremost, you have to stick up for your guy. And so that's why you go out there and make your case. And number two, you never want anything that can cause any type of harm at this level. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly important for these players to win. It means a lot to the guys on the field, the family watching, and all that. But ultimately, it's not a Major League Baseball game where, you know, millions are decided on every pitch. So you don't have to quite take it to its fullest extreme. And that's what Coach Harrison is going to, you know, remind the umpires here. And you're not allowed to do as much of that in Babe Ruth as you are, you know, in Major League Baseball. And even in MLB, they've gotten rid of the ability to do that. That play's kind of attempting to being phased out of the game, and that wasn't quite a full-on disruption slide. It just kind of turned into one, and the byproduct of it was preserving the out at first. Yeah,
certainly no ill intent on the part of Foley, but the play happened nonetheless, and now the umpire is discussing. You can see there, sliding to second, just in the way of Mott Smith, and of course Mott Smith upset as well. He thought he might have a chance to turn two. So as it stands now, Tsunomoto is on first with a fielder's choice.
Yeah, I understand the argument. You saw that replay there. That back leg is definitely a little off the plate, so it will certainly feel like you were targeted, and they are going to call him out. So they're going to say that he was going for that back leg, the intention too much. Again, that play being phased out of the game, so just like that, a call out. One more look at it here. Make of it what you will. Was he going for that back leg, or was that incidental contact on his way to second base? You decide at home. The ruling here is that it was intentional, and he's out.
So a de facto 6-4-3 double play for Tallahassee. And now Andrew Crable having his turn with the umpires, and it's 2 down, so a big call. And so instead of at least 1 on, it's two outs, and untraditional double play. And Ryan Cooney, with nobody on the bases, Tallahassee continues to work themselves in and out of a little trouble each and every inning. Be interesting to see as this game wears on for Tri-Valley. Certainly it seemed that as the years gone on has had competitive gains, but certainly not here at the Babe Ruth World Series. So it'll be interesting if this stays a close game, what kind of performances and who steps up in the big spot for them.
Yeah, and it's kind of funky here. That's the first obstruction call we've seen in any form. So now all of a sudden, if you're Tri-Valley, does that disrupt your rhythm at all? Likely not the way that they've played, but it does shift your mindset a bit on the base paths.
Cooney over to Dietz. No issues or debate this time. 1-2-3, albeit a little unconventional. We go to bottom 4. People who have made the trip, still with a 2-0 lead, but having to sweat it out just a little bit more than they are used to. As Eli Davidson comes out, he hasn't been sweating very much. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings. Only has the 1 strikeout, but he has been just making it easy on his defense. Ground out after fly out after ground out after fly out.
Yeah, he's been excellent, and a little over 30 pitches in 3 innings pitched. That's a pace that's going to get you through a full ball game. If that's the design, and you never know with Tri-Valley, they want to let him rest, bring in a different arm, especially if they can push this margin out a little bit more. But for right now, Eli Davidson looking next to unhittable, and Mark Metcalf will try and change that.
A base hit in the opening inning for Tallahassee, but that has been it. Through 3, they have not gotten a runner into scoring position yet. Maybe most importantly, no walks or hit by pitch or error, so only the one base runner up to this point. Saw a combined no-hitter last night for Eau Claire. Another strong performance here at the start of this day. Metcalf 0 for 1 so far today. In there 2-1, Metcalf comebacker to the mound that Davidson handled in the leadoff spot. Outside 3-1, so a chance for Metcalf to make a little noise here. Try and get something going here in the fourth. The defensive pitching been fantastic on Tallahassee's side as well. Still trying to figure things out here. 3-1. Almost always an automatic take, but Metcalf saw something he liked.
3-1, prime hitters count territory, and Mark Metcalf says, thanks. That's why I took all those balls in the first place. Delivers exactly what Tallahassee needed. Goes up, grabs that one, sends it into left. Good piece of hitting.
Metcalf with a single to get things going here. A hit in the third straight game. Now hits in 3 of the 4 games here at the World Series. Dinkelman safe on a fielder's choice. Cooney able to catch Metcalf on the lead runner.
Yeah, Dinkelman just grounding out there. Cooney take a little bit of a risk there with how slow that ball found its way to second base, but trusting his arm, comes out, does indeed complete the fielder's choice, and situation remains the same with an extra out.
Now a quick discussion with the second base umpire for Tri-Valley head coach Andrew Crable.
I don't think he liked that out call very much. And another conversation.
So we just saw in the bottom part of the third, Tri-Valley was called for interference on a slide that ended up being a double play. Not sure if that there's a whole lot here.
Foot on the bag, ball in hand, runner not there.
Catches the edge there of the foot of Souza. I don't know if that's what Crable is talking about because he gets the owl. If he was a little upset about that, if he just maybe wants to go fight for his guys after they were on the right end, but the tough end of a call.
Wasn't a very long conversation, just kind of supported by video evidence there. Dietz watches the first.
So Dinkelman on first with the fielder's choice. Dietz, prior to that Metcalf leadoff single, has the only other hit. Make it 2 for 2. Nate Dietz, quick throw to second from center. In there in time. What a toss. Schmidt to Souza to catch Dinkelman.
We have seen some unconventional outs from the field, and it's because these guys all have a live arm. Right there, gets it into shallow center, puts it exactly where it needs to be. Stretching out there to keep that foot on the base. Yep, very, very strong defense right there for Tri-Valley.
What a job. It starts with Schmidt, ends with Souza, and now it's 2 outs and just 1 on. Colby Tatter at the plate. So the way this inning has gone for Tallahassee, a leadoff single for Mark Metcalf, gets thrown out on the fielder's choice to second. Saunders Dinkelman on with that fielder's choice, then gets thrown out. And now you have Dietz who's on with the single, but with 2 outs. So Tallahassee, the inning they start to figure it out offensively. They get 2 hits, and at this point, not a lot to show for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, 2 of their 3 hits come in this frame. Like you said, start to lock in, and it's a tough break. That's what Tri-Valley makes you do, though. They're going to force you to play with their margins at their pace. It's tricky.
Pickoff throw. Dietz back in time. If there was a guy to make up for it, it would be Colby Tatter. Tatter on with fielder's choice in the first, but been a big power bat throughout this tournament for Tallahassee. One. Tatter rips the short. Tsunemoto makes the third out by catching Dietz at second, and we go to the fifth, 2-0. As we start the fifth, today's game on Beck brought to you by Farmers Union Insurance, Dakota Community Bank, Women's Way, Bell Bank, and BASF. We create chemistry. Thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors. Bradford Ray back out there through after Cole Lawson went an inning and 2/3. It was Ray who came in, 26 pitches, not a bad ratio, 16 strikes to 10 balls, and most importantly, he has found a way to keep this game within striking distance. Of course, Tri-Valley can explode at any time.
Yeah, Bradford Ray has been effective. He's done what he needed to do from a pitching standpoint. Where the big moment has come, he's given his defense a chance to show up and show out, and that's incredibly useful. He's faced 8 batters so far. Started about half of them with first pitch strikes, and even when he hasn't, has found a way to make a overall successful at bat the grand majority of the time. And listen, we're in the top of the fifth, and Tri-Valley's only scored 2 runs. This has not happened yet in this tournament, and frankly, not anything even close to this has happened yet in this tournament. A tip of the cap to the Tallahassee pitching staff, especially with the late change.
Yeah, 6 hits for Tri-Valley, but only 2 runs so far. They've left 5 runners stranded. The stakes for this game, both of these teams 3-0. The winner will win the national division, if you will, and earn that bye straight into the semifinals. Loser still gets to play, but will have to come right back to Ardeen Offutt Stadium tomorrow. Play third place in the American division, which will take shape later today. Top of the order, Dylan Souza. It'll be 1, 2, 3. Souza, Hudson Flora, and Grant Henninger all been on base. Souza 2 for 2 so far today. Pair of base hits. Two quick balls to him. And 3 straight balls. So Ray, who had been in control, gets way behind the count of Souza. Now can be patient here as the leadoff man once again. (3-0). Souza taking all the way. Cracked over to head coach Andrew Crable. Makes a nice grab, but the count is full.
Such a good day for Souza, and still an extremely productive at bat here.
Was 3 balls and no strikes. Ray slings the payoff. I'll try it again. That one barrels into the Tri-Valley dugout.
Just about the longest plate appearance Tri-Valley's had today. Aiden Foley took 7 before striking out. This will be the 7th pitch here from Ray to Souza.
Payoff. Souza straight up the middle. Dietz there. Spins, throw way off. Souza tripped up, and that'll keep him at first.
Yeah, Souza had this base hit no matter what. It was an unbelievable play by Nate Dietz to even get there, and he's got a 360 to throw over there. That's one he'll want back, given the benefit of hindsight. But in real time, you went through all that effort to get there. You want to make the throw, so you understand the thinking. But that one well wide. Fortunate for Tallahassee that Souza fell down. You're on a field that's still going to have a little bit of moisture after a quality downpour to begin the day.
Yeah, but credit to the grounds crew here. I mean, this field still looks stunning after the pounding it took for the first couple hours this morning and the 90-minute rain delay that we had. Hudson Flora up now. 1 ball and no strikes. Flora 0 for 1 today, on with a walk. Quick throw at first, Souza in time. And the bat we continue to talk about, Grant Henninger, who's been so good. He's on deck now. Hasn't been able to put a hit in the field yet. But Flora hoping to get on and set things up for the man with 9 RBIs in this tournament. One. Souza goes. Tatter throws. Stolen base.
Third of the tourney for Dylan Souza. Tri-Valley continues to be aggressive on the base paths.
Souza with a great jump. Even on a perfect throw, that would have been difficult. So now a man on second and in scoring position, and now Souza will take third. Through the wickets of Tatter, who's been so good.
So tricky when these guys have the movement and the velocity differences that they do. It's such a burden on a catcher. It's why we talk about it being the most important position here. A tough break. Tri-Valley in business with no outs.
3-1. Flora over to third. Dinkelman gives the look. In and out of the glove of Meeks. The worst case scenario for Tallahassee. Souza comes home and Flora is safe.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, and it's all happening at once. Sonder Dinkelman thought he was pitching today, has played a nice third base, but he's looking back there, staring. Then he's got to turn around all the while moving and throw it to first base. So a mental load winds up getting away from him. Flora reaches on the air, and Tri-Valley adds another.
So 3-0. It has been a different brand of baseball today for Tri-Valley. The big run innings where everyone was just batting around time after time. Today, the runs have been harder to come by. 16, 15, and 15 again are the run counts in the first 3 games for Tri-Valley. Just 3 today, but right now that's more than enough and looking for more with no outs. Henninger on with a walk and a fielder's choice as well today. Henninger laces one into center. Runners on first and second. Henninger continues to be productive all tournament long.
No kidding. 7 hits now over the course of 4 games. He has been just about unstoppable, and he's going to be one of the few guys who go into post-pool play with a 4-game hitting streak, getting one in every single matchup here in the opening round. One of the other few guys who'll be with him in that regard, George Schmidt hitting right now.
Yeah, every team has at least a star or two, but Henninger and maybe Schmidt, 2 of the best bats in this tournament, and that's trouble for everybody else because they are on the same squad. Schmidt, 2 for 2 so far today, including an RBI single in the first. 8 hits, only 3 runs to show for it, but Tri-Valley threatening here in the 5th. One-0 Schmidt lets it go, and a good block from Tatter. Flora and Henninger stay put.
George Schmidt's very first at-bat of this tournament was a flyout against Cash Strickland of Arkadelphia. Since then, he has not made an out. Walk, double, hit by pitch, walk, single, walk, double, single.
And maybe Mike Harrison knows just that. So a discussion on the mound here as Tallahassee just trying to figure out, again, how to stay within shouting distance. Ray has been excellent since coming in for Lawson, has stranded several runners. Came in with the bases loaded in the second, allowed nobody to come home, but now finds himself in a jam. Schmidt up now, and then things get no easier. Matteo Minetti, followed by Cade Robertson. What's the message to Ray right now?
Try and stay calm. Keep doing what you've been doing. Most importantly, give your teammates a chance to help you out of trouble. The defense for Tallahassee has been exemplary despite the error in this inning. They have done a tremendous job, and you have to allow them to continue to do that job here at R.D. Noffitt Stadium. But that's easier said than done against George Schmidt and Tri-Valley.
2 balls and no strikes to Schmidt with 2 runners on. A Tri-Valley team that's been held in check for the first time this tournament, looking for the big inning here. Fastball low and in the dirt. It's
good. We already talked about how the winner of this game gets the bye, and the 1 seed loser will take on the number 3 out of the American Division, either Fargo or Mifflin County. That's to be determined over the course of our last couple of games.
Schmidt stands in 3-0. And it's a walk, so bases are loaded with nobody outs. Third time today that the bases are loaded. The first 2 times Tri-Valley wasn't able to take real advantage. In fact, they didn't score a run on either try in the first or the second once the bases got loaded. However, no outs right now. A myriad of options for Minetti.
Yeah, a guy who's already had a really nice hitting tournament. 3 RBI so far. He might be able to double that number in 1 swing.
First pitch to Minetti outside. 1 for 2 today. Excuse me, 1 for 1. A single, and then he was hit by a pitch his last time up. A critical 5th inning. Tri-Valley looking for space. Minetti on the swing. Dinkelman throws home. They get 1. Tatter to Meeks for 2. 5-2-3. No runs come in.
Let your defense help you out if you're Bradford Ray. Outstanding recognition by Saunder Dinkelman. Comes up firing to the plate, and Colby Tatter ready to be the relay. This Tallahassee defense continuing to keep themselves in this ball game.
So runners on second and third now. However, 2 outs. What a job by this Tallahassee defense. Cade Robertson, 0 for 2 today. He grounded into a double play his last time up. It's Schmidt on second, Henninger on third.
Number 11, Cade Robertson.
One 0. Robertson thought about it, but it's in there for a called strike 1.
Cade Robertson, 4th in Williston with his 5 runs batted in. One of the right options here for Tri-Valley.
Not a lot of wrong options on this Tri-Valley team, but
No.
Tallahassee has been able to keep the bats at bay.
We mentioned how he's 4th. 2 of the 3 guys in front of him are his teammates, Grant Henninger and George Schmidt. The only one who's not is Charlie Pelkey for the Warriors at King Philip.
2 away, 2 on for Robertson. The sun's starting to peek out here at R.D. Noffitt Stadium for the first time. Big spot for Robertson. In there for strike 2. So Bradford Ray after another great play by his defense, can get out here. Deuce is wild. 2-1. Ray. Outside, away from Tatter. Run scores. Henninger comes in. And it's 4-0 Tri-Valley.
Tough break for Tallahassee there. Yesterday, we saw one come straight back and a chance for Tatter to make an unbelievable defensive play, but that time it is straight into the dirt. High hop, never coming down. Too much team speed for Tri-Valley, their first multi-run inning, but still within shouting distance if Bradford Ray has one more good pitch.
Yeah, payoff here can still end the inning on this pitch. Schmidt advances to third on the wild pitch. One more of those and he'll come home. That's fouled away. Payoff times 2. Ray delivers too far inside. Runners on first and third, and Tri-Valley with another shot to keep this inning going.
Yeah, you're only going to keep Cade Robertson down for so long. So after the 0 for 2, he grinds out a quality PA, and Eli Davidson has a chance to more or less cement his winning status as the pitcher of record here.
Davidson, excellent on the mound, 0 for 2 at the dish. And time from Davidson. Davidson settles back in. Runners on the corners. Robertson thought about going, so he's seeing if he could just bait that throw from Tatter to bring in Schmidt. Oh, 1. Now we'll go. It doesn't matter. Another bouncer away. Schmidt scores. It's 5-0. Now a little bit of trouble and a rundown. Robertson slides back to second. That's now 3 runs scored on wild pitches.
And just another tough one right there. Breaking right the second that ball hit the dirt with the runner stealing anyway. The minds of the Tallahassee defenders get a bit distracted. That's what you're trying to do. Get in Ray's head. It worked for Tri-Valley. Robertson still in scoring position. And the lead has blossomed.
So it hasn't been as flashy with a high number of hits. 8 today, but a couple of these coming on some wild pitches / pass balls. And Davidson now with a runner in scoring position. Lifts to the outfield. Dietz on the short grass ends the frame, but 3 score for Tri-Valley. They lead 5-0. Nothing Tri-Valley. Pitching with a big lead for Eli Davidson as we enter the bottom of the 5th. Strong day for Davidson. Only 45 pitches as he comes in to inning number 5 on the bump.
Yeah, that would put him on pace to go 8+ under the current pitch count limit of 95. That is not likely to be necessary here. May not even finish this game. Tri-Valley may give him a break, especially with tomorrow seemingly being an off day for these Tri-Valley All-Stars. You have to think that he's got a soft limit right at that second threshold, 2-day rest, 75. After that, you probably let someone else take a crack. If this big margin is protected, if things get spicy, then that mentality changes.
J.W. Meeks in to lead things off, and the Tallahassee offense was able to get something going for the first time in the 4th. They're able to get a couple of base hits. Unfortunately, some great defense in the field and a little trouble on the base paths led to eventually nobody being in scoring position throughout that inning.
It's just difficult. You look, and it's 3 runs on 2 hits in the 5th inning. So it's not like Tri-Valley was hitting the cover off the ball en route to the 3 runs. But that's what this Tri-Valley team does. They have the ability to beat you in so many different ways. We just haven't seen them grind it out yet, till now.
Meeks dribbles at foul. That's exactly, he took the words out of my mouth, Corey. It's impressive to see what Tri-Valley has done throughout the tournament. This may be a little bit more impressive only in the sense of, okay, they're getting a little pushback and a little fight for the first time. And when the offense hadn't been there, they figured it out defensively. And on this side, Eli Davidson and the offense starting to come together. They take advantage of a couple of wild pitches in the top of the frame to bring in a couple of runs. 1 run in the first, 1 in the third, and now 3 in the 5th. Pitch 52 for Davidson. Fouled. It will be J.W. Meeks, Bradford Ray, and Cole Lawson at the plate. Meeks fouls away again. So good long at bat to start things off. Tallahassee team that's had a couple low-scoring games, hasn't been shut out yet in this tournament. A 3-0 win over West Fargo, 8-1 over Puyallup, and a 7-4 win in that 11-inning marathon yesterday against Arkadelphia. 2-2. On the outside. Payoff coming. (3-2). Meeks continues to fight. J.W. Meeks, as he has been all tournament long. This has been one of the more consistent guys, and what we've come to expect from him. Head coach Michael Harrison told us coming into this one, he's a hard worker. He loves to compete, lead by example. Doing that right now. High fly out. Calling off his teammates and making the play from left is Robertson.
10-pitch at-bat, that's really well done by J.W. Meeks, and even more impressive for Cade Robertson, because that ball was hit as high as any here at this World Series, and on far and away the windiest day in Williston, North Dakota. This is not an easy play, because that ball is swirling around. Robertson not only communicates, but snags it.
Bradford Ray fouls off the first pitch. Yeah, considering the circumstances and the wind that we've had, a pretty clean game for both teams. 2 errors for Tallahassee and none for the champs from the Pacific Southwest. The Southeast champs, Tallahassee, trying to work out of this 5-0 hole. (1-1). 1-2. Next game after this will be Arkadelphia and Puyallup, give or take around 30 or so minutes following the conclusion of this game. A little behind schedule after that rain delay. 1-2. Ray foul in the same spot.
That'll be a bragging rights game there. A pair of 0-3 teams. Neither will be advancing to the knockout round, but you do not want to go 0-4. You worked so hard to get here. It's going to unfortunately happen to one of them, but the other creates a lasting memory with a World Series win.
Yeah, absolutely. An awful lot of pride on the line from 2 really talented teams. Just hasn't quite worked out. Arkadelphia was on the precipice of a win yesterday and would have made today a lot different if they were able to pull it out. But Tallahassee held on. Now they're trying to make a comeback. Full count for Ray.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate pool placement. Somebody had to be in with these 2 teams, and that presents a lot of challenges.
Payoff to Ray. Strikeout. Davidson continues his big day at a chance for his third 1-2-3 inning in the last 4.
What's remarkable about it, though, is to this point, all of the dominant starts have had a handful of strikeouts, 4, 5, sometimes more, but usually in that area code. That's just the second for Eli Davidson, and despite that, he's pitching incredibly well. The ground ball pitcher, something we haven't gotten to see here at the World Series. Davidson doing a great job of it.
Absolutely, and doing it on now just 63 pitches. So even if they're using that 75 threshold, if he gets Lawson out here, he'll have some wiggle room to be able to start the 6th.
And they may not. They may let Eli throw even if he passes it. They'll have options, especially after a bye. So realistically, if you're not planning on using Eli 2 days from now, then it doesn't matter.
Lawson into right, a base hit, takes a good Tallahassee roll. Lawson sticks at first.
Good piece of hitting. Tallahassee's not going to make it easy. They have the comfort of knowing they're in the next round no matter what, but that's not going to stop them from being fierce competitors here down the stretch.
And now a discussion to be had with Eli Davidson after the base hit. Still not an awful lot of concern, but see what Tri-Valley decides to do here. John Flora out there to have a discussion with Davidson. 65 pitches today, 38 strikes. So the standings as it sit now is this is game 1 of 4 of the day. So taking a look at how our standings sit in the National Division, these two at the top both 3-0. So if Tri-Valley holds on, they're 4-0, get the bye. That would make Tallahassee 3-1, and then going down the line, you have West Fargo. They're already done at 2-2. They've played their way already into the quarterfinals tomorrow, and like we said, our bottom 2 teams, the Southwest and Pacific Northwest Chants, who play next, both 0-3. That's how the National Division looks coming in to this final day of pool play. 1 on, 2 outs, Alexander Hain at the dish. Ball gets away from Flora, but Lawson stays put.
For Tri-Valley, coming off of the bye, let's say Eli does pitch 80-something today, so he's unavailable. You'll still have Brennan Baptist, who currently has 3 2/3 of shutout baseball with just 1 hit allowed. Anthony Louie has 1 1/3 of absolutely nothing allowed. Christian Morales, 3 innings of absolutely nothing allowed. And then you have Ryan Cooney as well.
Hain launches into left. Diving play by Robertson. Robertson with a web gem to end the 5th.
Sees it the whole way. Maximum stretch. Pulls it right off of the dirt.
A new man on the mound for Tallahassee. The third pitcher of the day, Wyatt Jesse. Second time we're seeing him in this tournament. Went for just an inning in helping close things out against Puyallup in Tallahassee's 8-1 win on day 2. He steps onto the mound in a 5-0 hole.
Another tough task for a bullpen player here for Tallahassee, but these guys on balance have been the best in the tournament, so Jesse going to try and live up to the billing. Defensive changes behind him. The outfield shifts in its entirety. Cole Lawson now playing in left field. Mark Metcalf, now your center fielder for the Southeast Region champions, and Bradford Ray slides from the hill into right field.
So Ray, who started in right, goes back to his original position. Pitched very well coming in for Cole Lawson. Ran into a little bit of trouble in that 5th. Several wild pitches helped bring in 3 runs in the top of the 5th for Tri-Valley, hence the 5-0 lead. It is 8, 9, 10, starting with Aiden Foley, who gets clipped on Jesse's first pitch.
Tough start, but Tri-Valley doesn't give you much of a chance to settle in. Can certainly be a bit intimidating going against this lineup.
Jake Tsunemoto up next. Tsunemoto 0 for 2 so far today. Going over at first, no problem for Foley. Tatter with a drop.
Yeah, Foley was going. He was safe no matter what, even if that was a chance for Tatter to lay down a strike. It was a tremendous jump by Aiden Foley. His 4 stolen bases right near the top of the Williston leaderboards.
So now man at scoring position with no outs. 1-1 now to Tsunemoto.
So seeming increasingly likely, Tallahassee will play tomorrow. They'll still have a lot of pitching options available, especially since Saunder didn't pitch today. So you can go Dinkelman, you can go Dietz, you can go Harper. They are going to have a bevy of weapons for whoever they face tomorrow, whether it be Fargo or Mifflin County.
Yeah, both these teams exceedingly deep. 2-1, fouled off 2-2. The standings as they sit now in the opposite American division. King Philip, Norfolk, they are 3-0. Eau Claire, their time pool play is done, 3-1. Those two already moving on. So it's just a matter, really, as far as qualifying. That last team goes. Quick throw from center, and that gets 2. Foley thought that was going to drop, took a little bit of a risky jump.
Yeah, he tried to get halfway, and you understand the thinking. For the most part, those balls have dropped, but Metcalf, we already know he's rangy from his play at second base, now in center, and that's an easy toss for him.
Ryan Cooney now at 2 outs. In there on the edge for 0-1. Cooney, 1 for 2 today, a single back in the second. And quickly 0-2.
You mentioned those standings in the American Division. Those first 2 teams are in that order. Doesn't matter what happens for Norfolk today. They're the 1 seed because they beat Eau Claire.
Outside, so the pressure off for King Philip as they'll still try and go 4-0 and keep the momentum going. Then the real question is who is going to be that third team. That's the third strike, and we go to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th, Dry Valley working with a 5-run lead, 5-0. Arkadelphia getting ready for the next one. It'll be Arkadelphia and Puella, both 0-3, both with some strong moments here at the World Series, and one of them will still get to go home with a victory. New pitcher on the mound, Eli Davidson's day done after 5 excellent innings of work. It'll be Brennan Baptist replacing him.
Tri-Valley brings out the guy with the best numbers in this tournament. 3 2/3 of one-hit baseball for Brennan Baptist. Get some work in for him. Keep him warm through the bye. And barring something super from Tallahassee, he'd be eligible to start the semifinal game if that's the direction Tri-Valley wants to go.
And counting up the numbers now for Eli Davidson, pretty fantastic day of baseball. Goes 5 complete, 4 hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts only, but maybe the most important number here, no walks, and no free bases of any kind. No walks, no hit by pitch. His defense did not give up an error. It was a fantastic day, as now in hitting for Miles Mott-Smith is Gavin Harper.
Second official at-bat here in Williston. He has walked once.
And quickly ahead, 3-0 on the new pitcher. Four straight balls to start things off. A little frustration for Baptist as he walks his first batter.
Yeah, it's good to get Gavin Harper involved into this game. Let him stay attentive here at Ardeen Offit Stadium. Mike Harrison's got a decision to make, but if it were me, we'd be seeing Gavin Harper on the hill tomorrow after he went complete game shutout on day one.
Yeah, only surrendered 4 hits, 9 strikeouts to just 1 walk. So a really fantastic day. Now Wyatt Jesse hitting for Baisden.
Although, if you want to put Saunder in because you didn't use him today, 2 innings pitched and 6 strikeouts, that gets the job done.
It's a pretty good problem to have,
Yeah.
to pick between the guys that Michael Harrison has on his roster. The hope is that he'll get to throw out both of those guys
Right.
Thursday, Friday, and then potentially somebody Saturday in the championship. But some work to do. The road, if this score holds, just a tiny bit harder for Tallahassee and a tiny bit easier for Tri-Valley. Tri-Valley will go straight into the semifinals on Friday and get a bye tomorrow, 2-2 against Jesse. And Tallahassee will have to play tomorrow.
Barring something spectacular here in bottom 6, bottom 7, which is still possible for this Tallahassee team. We've seen them potentially explosive on offense. This Tri-Valley pitching staff, though, has not had that type of issue at any moment here at Artie Offit Stadium.
Yet when when Tallahassee needed offense yesterday, 4-4, took them to the 11th, but they were able to break that tie late, win that game 7-4, and back-to-back walks to lead things off will aid the cause for Tallahassee.
Brennan Baptist had 1 walk in this tournament coming into this appearance, and the first 2 guys he sees, free bases. Unconventional for Baptist. They're going to talk him through that, try and work through the mechanics. And on the flip side, all you can do is tip your cap to these Tallahassee hitters, being patient, waiting for their chance.
And with the mound visit, do believe we just had a change defensively as
Mateo
well.
Minetti's in the outfield. We'll find out exactly what spot for you here. I think he's going to right.
Yeah, so Grant Henninger comes out. Mateo Minetti comes in.
Mateo was in the extra player position, so no other requisite change on defense here, nor in the batting order.
So good start for Tallahassee, back to the top of the order. Leadoff walks in the first appearances of the day for Gavin Harper, then Wyatt Jesse, and now it's Mark Metcalf. Metcalf 1 for 2 today, a single in the 4th. And Tallahassee with their first opportunity with a runner in scoring position. As I'm looking at my scorecard, I believe for the first time today.
Checking. Yep, math checks out.
Always worth a double check.
Oh, I was being sarcastic. I knew you were right the whole time.
You have too much faith in me.
No, I don't.
Just the right amount?
Sure.
2 on for Metcalf. Big spot for Tallahassee as they try and get on the board for the first time today and chip away.
So for the first time, the sun's out. Haven't seen that all day.
The sun is out, a runner in scoring position.
There you go.
This could be the chance for the guys from the Sunshine State.
There you go. Connections on connections. Day literally brightening for Tallahassee.
Hoping to keep it going. Nobody out. 1-1 outside. So Baptist with back-to-back walks and 2-1 to Metcalf. Two-one delivery outside and in the dirt. It's 3-1. So Baptist, who had been excellent on the mound, running into trouble. Taking all the way. Metcalf thought he was about to load the bases on a walk. Instead, it's a payoff coming. payoff. Metcalf into right. Lands. Tallahassee going to score their first run today. Mott Smith in from second. Tallahassee fired up and on the board.
Big time base running all the way around here. Gavin Harper does a tremendous job getting a jump, and even better base hitting right here for Mark Metcalf, steering that ball away from the speedy Minetti, who just went out there to right field. Wide turn. You don't let that stop you. You get in there. And an effective slide. That was a great throw to even make it close. Tally on the board.
So Harper, who just replaced Mott Smith, got on with the leadoff walk, comes around to score. Still no outs. Jesse on third, Metcalf on first. Saunders Dinkelman at the plate. And so the door not shut yet on Tallahassee. One-0 outside. We saw several Tri-Valley players get home on wild pitches. So Hudson Flora being hyper aware behind the dish right now. In there on the outside corner, 2-1. Baisden has come in, a walk, and a single. Dinkelman 0 for 2 today. Up the middle. The step on second. Souza gets 2. However, Jesse comes home.
At this point, that's probably a trade you're okay with if you're Tri-Valley. This is why you give yourself that pad. Use it in a big way. Not the appearance Brennan Baptist had in mind, but now if you get Dietz, it's all right.
So Dietz now with the base paths clear, so an interesting trade-off. Tallahassee able to make this a game now if you can get out without any issues in the top of the frame. You give yourself a decent enough opportunity. Tri-Valley will be hoping for a little more insurance, but happy to get the 4-3 double play. So Dinkelman not credited with the RBI, but does do the job for Jesse. 3 balls and no strikes. Dietz trying to keep the frame moving. Lifts the arms and lets the strike fly through. Three, 1, foul.
Gave it a good ride, but just a foul ball.
And if Dietz can get on, it does bring up Colby Tatter. Been one of the elite bats in this tournament. He does get on. Baptist was running to the dugout, thought he had a strikeout.
Yep. He was certainly ready to be done with this half inning. But not just yet. Nate Dietz on base all 3 times now. Gives Colby Tatter a chance to make this thing interesting in a hurry.
And instead of Tatter, it is Jason Cantella coming to the dish. Cantella, without a hit in this tournament, has been on a couple times with walks, which there have been 3 of in this inning. High and outside, good catch from Flora. Throw back to first. No real threat to Dietz. So 3 walks and an RBI single is the damage done in this inning. 1-1. Cantella over to third. Cooney throws it on a frozen rope and ends the inning, but Tallahassee trying to make things interesting down the stretch. We start the 7th, and the boss man has arrived. Jordan Hassler joining the Beck Sports crew here over the next couple of days. He'll be taking over the broadcasts here down the home stretch of the tournament. In the meantime, you're stuck with us, Corey Brooks and David Sugarman on hand, along with a Beck Sports crew that has been working extremely hard. Tip of the cap these last few days to our camera operators on site, Patrick Conte, Jesse Schwab, Scott Lurch, director today, Brent Borkus, and our graphics operator, the Zach Hassler. Top of the 7th, 2 across for Tallahassee in the bottom of the 6th. So things for the first time, Tri-Valley playing a full 7-inning game, and for the first time with someone playing Tri-Valley, there's a little intrigue.
Yeah, no question. It's about to get interesting here. Tri-Valley needing a bit of insurance. You got the 3-run margin. That's pretty comfortable, but all of a sudden, Tallahassee's playing well. You don't want to give them any glimmer. So Souza and company will try and attack.
Top of the order due up, Souza, Flora, Henninger. Effective all the way through today. Souza, 3 for 3 with 3 singles. Flora, been on twice, an error and a walk. And Henninger, a walk, a single, and a fielder's choice today. So a good spot to be if you're Tri-Valley and looking for a little insurance. 1-1 with Wyatt Jesse on the mound. Souza keeps doing the job. 4 out of 4 for Dylan Souza today.
Yeah, there ain't much more to say other than that. Really nice tournament. 6 for 9 at the plate now. 3 RBI to go along with it. He's been outstanding. Him, like I said, him and Flora have been switching that 1 and 2 spot. It hasn't mattered. They keep hitting.
Both getting their squads off to good starts no matter where they are. Souza, the leadoff man today. In a game that has been slightly more taxing for Tri-Valley, a game where they really had to earn their runs here. Came home on a couple of wild pitches in a 3-run fifth. Their only multi-run inning so far today is now Colby Tatter. We'll have a quick discussion here with Wyatt Jesse. A big spot for Tallahassee. You put up 2, so this is a manageable deficit. We've seen this offense have big innings before, but we've also seen Tri-Valley close the door with 10, 15, 16-run frames.
Yeah, for the most part. When they've decided it's time to end a game, that game has ended. But this is a different ball game, man, and credit Tallahassee. They got disrupted, but they've hung around, kept this a 3-run game. If this matchup happens again, they'll be ready.
Tatter trying to throw down Souza. Souza, no problem.
Swipe 4 for Souza. Yeah, KP might have something to say about it, but there's very real possibility that these two are the top 2 in this tournament and meet up again in the knockout round. But there's still a whole lot to be decided between now and then.
Yeah, Souza, those 4 steals, 2 of them today. 1 in the 5th and 1 here in the 7th. The look back here to make sure he doesn't take another. And so much intrigue, and we haven't seen, of course, yet a team play anybody twice. Could happen here over the last couple of days. It would make for a really interesting game because we haven't seen adjustments been made in terms of seeing somebody for the second time as it's 1-1 against Flora.
It would be in the championship if it did happen, but that's a long way away. Saturday feels like not even on the mind right now.
Right now for these guys, it's all about getting through today. Tri-Valley just trying to make sure they don't give away their undefeated record and a bye in tomorrow's quarterfinals. Tallahassee seeing if they can scrape out a late comeback. It starts here. Flora, sharp bounce off the mound. Unlucky. Souza got tripped up and a good throw, so he'll stay at third.
You knew that when Tallahassee scored 2, Tri-Valley was going to be woken up as a result. That thing drops into the strike zone. Hudson Flora sits back, sees it the whole way, waits for it, right up the middle.
Runners on the corners and no outs. Tri-Valley been waiting on the big inning all day. Well, this might be their chance. Grant Henninger singled his last time up. Curve in there for 0-1.
Grant Henninger has a chance to have 10 RBI in pool play.
Unbelievable. We've seen some great offensive performances, but not only has he been great, arguably the most consistent. Tatter feigns the throw down a second. Didn't want to bring Souza home, so just threw it to short.
Just like that, he's got a chance at 11.
Henninger licking his chops now at 1-1. Henninger saw something he liked. Instead, it's 1-2.
Put that into context, and again, it's still if for right now, but if he gets it, on average, by himself, he's bringing in 3 runs a game. 3 runs is enough to win a baseball game most of the time.
And he's doing that all by his lonesome. His teammates doing a great job of getting on base and giving him the chance. 2 on the pond here, 2-2.
Wyatt Jesse, on the other hand, is thinking, nah, he's got enough. He doesn't need any more.
Still no outs. Two, just hit by Henninger. 10 hits today for Tri-Valley. In a game that just had a weird feel of it over it for the first few innings. It was still a little windy now, extremely windy at the time, a 90-minute delay. Since then, Tri-Valley has figured it out. Henninger now with double-digit RBIs on the single.
Unreal stuff from Grant Henninger. You can't do it any better than he has in pool play. And he's played less innings than most of his compatriots on the top of that leaderboard because this team's been so good. 10 RBI over the course of 4 games. That's absurd.
Souza scores, Florida third, and still no outs. So this may be the knockout blow coming from Tri-Valley. And Andrew Craybill may be making a late change here, just getting somebody new for Henninger in on the base paths possibly.
Yeah, he's done all he needs to do for pool play, so he gets a little ovation, a moment to head down to the dugout.
It will be R.J. Manicki who comes in to run for him at first.
Number 4, R.J. Manicki.
So Manicki now on first thanks to Henninger and Flora on third. And if Henninger's Batman, Schmidt, has been Robin throughout this tournament and been that today, pair of singles, an RBI, a walk, and 2 runs. Chance to bring in another here.
Yeah, you could flip that, and I don't think there'd be a whole lot of an argument. It's 1A, 1B for sure between these two.
Both been fantastic. One would be tough enough to deal with in the lineup.
Right.
These guys from Tri-Valley have brought over some big offense, and we saw the numbers coming in, right? Look at the regional tournament numbers. 15 runs, 7, 10. The lowest number they scored is 6, which is still a decent amount, as Manicki takes second. But the way they have dominated some great competition, I mean, they have made some teams that have not probably lost like that all year long. Just look inferior compared to them.
Sure.
1-1. Schmidt into the outfield. Metcalf makes the play, but a sacrifice fly good enough to make it 7-2. Flora scores.
That's what you needed right there. After they get two, you take it right back. Tri-Valley, unrelenting in pool play. It's probably really useful for them to have this type of game script. You don't want to just completely blow through pool play and never be challenged. You need a little bit of adversity. They faced it in this one, and they have answered the bell at every single turn.
Just enough to be tense, not enough to be nervous.
Right.
I'm sure if I looked them up in the dictionary, they're probably really the same definition, the synonyms for each other, but you got what I was getting
Absolutely.
at. You get me.
Oh, yeah. That's why there's different words for different things. Got to fly over here.
Get to the chopper. Flying over. Matteo Minetti over to third. And Dinkelman with a strike for the second out. Nice throw by Dinkelman. Henninger gets the third, but Tallahassee picks up the second out.
JW held it long enough here. This throw has some heat. Sander Dinkelman thinking he's on the mound. He lets it rip all across the diamond, and JW got it, held it, came off, then dropped it. So that's the right call. Goes down as the second out.
So still a chance to bring in at least one more. Minicki running for Henninger, sits on third. Cade Robertson at the plate. And he'll do just that. Past the glove of Mott Smith, and it is now a 3-run inning for Tri-Valley.
Yeah, their motto in pool play, leave no doubt. And they have, at every single turn, reinforced that. A clear front runner has emerged from pool play. That doesn't win you a championship, but it puts you in a tremendous spot to do so.
Yeah, still work to do, but in all likelihood, one less game coming as Eli Davidson is replaced here by Brendan Baptist, who replaced him on the mound, and will do so in the order as well. One, 1-2. So Wyatt Jesse has come in and competed here after a couple good innings in relief from Bradford Ray, but run into trouble here in the 7th. 6-run deficit. And Robertson now takes second.
Yeah, just so few weak spots in this Tri-Valley offense. You look at the leaders in batting average here in this tournament. The top 6 all play for this team. A couple of those are on low at bats, but again, it's efficient and it does the job.
2-2 outside and full count. Like I said, low at bats or not, it just feels like everybody who has come to bat throughout these 4 games has found a way to contribute in one way or another. Payoff. Fouled away.
Yeah, the only one of those that's really low is actually the only guy hitting 1,000 here in Williston, which is Christian Morales, 1 for 1. But he got a run, and that 1 brought in 3. So, even in the smallest of sample sizes, a massive difference made.
Just shows the strength of this Tri-Valley team. Payoff. Baptist flares into right. And holding up at third is Robertson. But runners on the corners. So 2 outs and Tri-Valley making sure to leave no doubt.
Yeah, 2 outs, and then Tri-Valley turns that into back-to-back singles. Any type of pressure is just reflected back doubly fold here against this Tri-Valley team, and it's from the word go that they have stood out. All 3 of the valleys in Tri-Valley, Amador, San Ramon, and Livermore, absolutely stoked by what they've seen through 4 games.
For Tri-Valley, 8 hits to the first 6 innings, 5 here in the 7th. Let's make it 6. RBI single for Foley. Robertson comes home now 9-2.
Yeah, not much more to say at this point. These guys have spoken for themselves. They don't need a messenger. they're going to do their thing.
2 outs for Jake Tsunemoto. So now since that second out, RBI single for Robertson, who scores. A single for Davidson. Brendan Baptist, who's on second. Aiden Foley with an RBI single.
And look, this game got away from Jesse and Tallahassee here a bit at the end, but final score not really going to be indicative of the fact that this was an incredibly close game. With 4 complete, it was 2-0, and Tallahassee started to get going in the bottom part of the 6th inning with that 2 spot. So really, really close game in the grander balance of it, and if there is a rematch, I certainly wouldn't count Tallahassee out.
Absolutely not, and you wonder if Tallahassee with those 2 base hits in the 4th, if they don't have a couple of tough throwdowns and can get a runner in scoring position there, they get their first 3 runners on.
Sure.
Single, fielder's choice single. Could have been a different ball game. Wasn't the case today.
Yep. I suppose the counterpoint for the Pacific Southwest champions is we left 6 runners on in the first 2 innings, which is the maximum possible amount of left on base through 2 innings.
3-1 to Tsunemoto. 0 for 3 today, on with a walk. So now the base is loaded, and Ryan Cooney, one more crack at it here, and if Cooney gets on base,
yep,
you already know what I'm going to say.
I do, because I was going to say it if you did.
Tri-Valley going to come all the way around if Cooney can get on.
That would be 4 games. They have done that.
A discussion with Wyatt Jesse, and the day over for him. A new pitcher will come in to try and get the last out. We'll have that for you on the other side of the break. Top 7, 9-2. Tri-Valley has taken command here in this 7th inning. They've added 4, and a new pitcher been added to the rotation for Tallahassee. Mark Metcalf will come in and try and get the 3rd out and bring us to the bottom of the 7th. Bases loaded. Ryan Cooney at the plate, 1 for 3 today. First pitch, outside. So 2 score in the bottom of the 6th for Tallahassee. Make it 5-2, maybe make it interesting, and Tri-Valley coming out with that killer instinct here in the top of the 7th. 14 hits. A great play by Dietz, however, no play to be made afterwards. Cooney with the RBI single. Baptist comes in, and all the way around goes Tri-Valley.
Yeah, it's not a Tri-Valley game if they don't bat around at least once, and they've done it again here. The best pitching team in this tournament has seen the game script get away, and Dylan Souza comes up again.
Souza started things off with a single, eventually scored. Souza 4 for 4 today.
I don't think we've had anyone go 5 for 5. Got a couple of 4 for 4s.
4 for 4, doesn't have an RBI, has scored 3 times, so looking to add to his resume. On the money. No, excuse me.
You know how Tri-Valley's hit? They deserve your benefit of the doubt, but called foul just barely. Yeah, right call. That is foul.
Yep. So Souza will try it again. That might have brought in 2. Instead, Souza will come back to it. Souza, 3 RBIs in this tournament, 2 in the opener against Arkadelphia, 1 against West Fargo. 0-2. Five runs, by far the biggest inning of the game. Souza gets out of the way. Deuces wild across.
First time pitching for Mark Metcalf here at the World Series. Kind of a tough spot to have your debut, but go out and just get the 1 out.
Metcalf misses just high, and the count is full. We'll try and get out of dodge here. Metcalf trying to close the door on a big Tri-Valley inning. Souza not ready for that just yet. Fouls it back and high.
Yeah, Tri-Valley's enjoyed pool play. They're going to hang out, enjoy it a little bit more. They still need to come out in the bottom part and handle their business in order to secure the #1 seed and early favorite status as we go to the knockout round.
So we'll try the payoff again. Souza, 4 for 4, 4 out of 5. One short of perfection, but 5 runs put up in the top of the inning for Tri-Valley. Bottom of the 7th, Tri-Valley up 10-2 in this one. Last chance for Tallahassee. New man on the mound. Grant Henninger will come in to try and finish things off for Tri-Valley. 5 strong innings from Eli Davidson. A little bit of trouble for Brennan Baptist in the 6th. Lets 2 in, and so it's up to Grant Henninger with a pretty hefty lead.
He goes straight to work, and focus has been his bat, deservedly so. But now he gets to make his pitching debut and only needs 3 outs to make it a successful one and end the game. Brennan Baptist only throws about 25 pitches.
Just 1 inning. Only gave up the 1 hit, however. 2 runs, 3 walks, and no strikeouts in the inning. However, offense making sure that it would be a big climb for Tallahassee. It will be J.W. Meeks, Bradford Ray, and Cole Lawson. 5, 6, 7 in the lineup. Quickly 0-1 to Meeks, who is 0 for 2 today.
So Davidson kept it under 75. Baptist wasn't even close. Off day yesterday means full complement of weapons. 2 bye days in 4 days. That lets you keep your rotation spry and ready to go, only adding to the bevy of options for Tri-Valley.
Yeah, the depth for Tri-Valley been on display. Pretty curved to the outside. 1-2 against Meeks. So Henninger, who has 10 RBIs in this tournament, just added another here in the top of the frame. Now looking to finish things off.
Kind of fitting in its way, right? He's been at the spearhead of the offense since game 1, and now you kind of let him take center stage on the mound. Even if it goes away from him a little bit, he's earned this spot.
2-2. Outside, skips by Flora, and a full count. Meeks has been nothing if always competitive in his at-bats throughout this tournament. Been one of the best consistent sources of offense. Not today, and unfortunately that continues. Strikeout for Henninger, 2 more outs to go for Tri-Valley.
Yeah, to your point, JW's had multiple at-bats that have gone double-digit pitches. That time he still sees 6. His at-bats today, 6-10-6. So even when he's making outs, he's still productive. And the deeper Tallahassee goes in this tournament, the more taxed the opposing arm is going to be, the better a weapon like that becomes.
Instead of Bradford Ray, it will be Ethan LaFuria stepping in. 0 for 1 in Game 2, his first plate appearance since. So Tallahassee, in all likelihood, going to round out pool play 3-1. Really up and down pool play, but they always got the job done up until today. 3-0 against West Fargo. Got it done on only 4 hits. They take care of Puyallup 8-1, and maybe most impressively yesterday to take down a desperate Arkadelphia team in 11 innings, held them off 7-4. 3 balls and no strikes to LaFuria. Henninger, fastball in there for strike 1.
That Arkadelphia win was impressive because they had to grit it out. But for me, their most impressive win was that Puyallup win. Nearly 20 strikeouts.
A 2-1. I beg your pardon. It was 3-1 and a walk for LaFuria.
Yeah, so LaFuria gets on base for the first time, headed into the knockout round. That's going to feel good. Tallahassee gets to shore up their depth a little bit. And Cole Lawson gets his 3rd AB.
Lawson, 1 for 2 today, a single in that 5th. The offense has been there in spurts today for Tallahassee. Just struggled to put it together. Some life there in the bottom of the sixth, and then Tri-Valley doing what we've come accustomed to in pool play here in Williston. Throwback to first. The Furia back in time.
That's a good way to describe it. I think for Tallahassee, they're a great roster up and down, but the offense has been a bit inconsistent here at the World Series. You expect that with the caliber of team that they're playing for sure. But if they level that out a little bit, kind of find their form and flat out get hot at the plate, then they really can match up with anybody, including Tri-Valley, including Norfolk, the top tier teams in the country.
1-1 to Lawson with one out. Somehow that curve back, Lawson was getting out of the way at shin music. Instead, it's 1-2.
Well, we know Grant's a strong kid. We've seen that with the bat, but now he backs it up by throwing that baseball with some bend.
Lawson lifts to right. Coming in to make the play is Minetti, and Tallahassee down to their final out.
Good job by LaFuria to get back over there at first, too. We've seen some weird outs from the field, but he hustles back quickly. And now Tri-Valley 1 out away from their pool play coronation.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of big arms out and right. We've seen 2 or 3 9-3 outs that normally are automatic base hits, but some great arms out in the outfield throughout this week. It'll be Alex Hain who will try and keep things going a little while longer here for Tallahassee. In all likelihood, Tallahassee 3-1 in pool play. They will take on third place in the American Division. Still have to sort that out. We got 3 more games later today to do it. 1-0. High on Hain. So our next one is Arkadelphia and Puella. That one won't really affect the standings. Those two both 0-3 and out of contention to continue following today, but certainly a lot on the line as they're trying to represent their communities, bring back a little hometown pride with the victory, as it's 3 straight balls to Hain. That one will start roughly about 30 minutes after this one. As you can imagine, a 90-minute rain delay, so that 1:30 start went out the window, probably around the 4th inning in this game.
Yeah.
Three to Hain. In there for strike 1. If Hain can get on, it will be Gavin Harper and Wyatt Jesse up after him. Both came around after getting on with walks as part of that 6th inning push from Tallahassee.
And that push won't matter in the grand scheme of this ball game, but that's something that Mike Harrison and his coaching staff can reference if and when adversity strikes again here in a talented knockout round. Saying, remember how you fought back off the mat? Let's try and do that again. Ooh.
Hain, moonball to left. That drops near the wall. LaFuria getting all the way to third and a stand-up double for Hain. Some more good vibes to build off for Tallahassee.
We talk about coming back from adversity in the 6th. They're saying we're going to try and do it in the 7th, too. Alex Hain with a rocket. His 2nd double here at R.D. Noffitt Stadium. About as hard a hit ball as we've seen. That's their center cut, and he maximizes that swing. Well done by Alex Hain.
So Hain, who was critical in the win against Arkadelphia, 3 for 5 plus an RBI, picks up a double here. And now the aforementioned Harper. Harper had his first at-bat in that 6th inning, replacing Mott Smith. On with a walk. This time it's another swing into left. LaFuria comes home. So will Hain all the way from second. Back-to-back doubles and 2 score. Don't close the door yet on Tallahassee.
Not so fast, my friend. Lee Corso went to Florida State, the home of FSU. Not quite done yet. Can Wyatt Jesse keep the good going? Gavin Harper just came into this game a little bit ago, and an elite drive right there all the way into the left corner.
So back-to-back doubles, a 2 RBI double for Harper, and now Wyatt Jesse up at the plate. So last time Harper on with a walk scored. This time 2 RBI double. Last time Jesse on with a walk. Hoping to continue to play copycat. Fouled back, 1-1. So no quitting this Tallahassee team.
Back-to-back 2 spots here for the guys from Leon County. That builds momentum into tomorrow, even if this result holds.
Still a 6-run hole, 1-1. Jesse gets out of the way.
And if you're Fargo/Mifflin County, whichever team's playing Tallahassee tomorrow, you would have liked to have seen them go down much quieter than this. Instead, they get a quiet confidence. For a workman-like team, that can make a difference.
2-1 to Jesse. And Tallahassee down to their final strike. Deuces wild, man on second. 2 runs each of the last 2 innings. Can Tallahassee keep it going? Back-to-back doubles. Henninger delivers. Full count.
It's a good pitch there. Inside part falling off the table. Trying to get Wyatt Jesse to chase. As a new batter, that usually works for the pitcher, but Jesse resists.
Henninger, the closer. Not yet. Jesse on with back-to-back walks, and now a wraparound to the top of the order with Mark Metcalf, who had an RBI single in the 6th. So not so fast is right. Still work to do, but what Tallahassee, after struggling so much with Eli Davidson through the first 5, has figured out the relieving part of the order right now for Tri-Valley.
No question about it. They get to Baptist like no one had ever done in this tournament. And now Henninger making his debut, conceding the walk. And how about Wyatt Jesse? Still 0 at-bats here at the World Series, and it's because he's walked twice in this game. You've been on base, then you have at-bats. That's really, really impressive. Not easy to do.
It's doing a job, and it's 2 on now, still 2 out. So now the discussion has to be, hey, guys, we only got to get 1 more. But coming to the top of the order, Mark Metcalf had an RBI single in the 6th, and he's 2 for 3 today. So you got a good guy coming up here as you're able to wrap around.
Yeah, one of the real leaders. Going to get a chance.
Number 32, Mark Metcalf.
Metcalf with hits in each of the last 3 games, multiple hits yesterday and today. Falls behind 0-1.
Yeah, he didn't like that. That thing had a lot of movement out of the hand of Henninger.
Quick throw to second, certainly even in the midst of still a big comeback to make. Don't want to lose the rally there.
Yeah, it's a good idea by Grant because so often in this spot, the runner is just not looking at the pitcher. He's staring at the plate, waiting for that ball to be put in play.
0-1, Metcalf goes down swinging, and once again, down to the last strike. Henninger walked Wyatt Jesse on a full count. He's got Metcalf on the ropes, 0-2. Henninger dinged over to Cooney. He steps on third, and no sweat for Tri-Valley. Tallahassee scores 2, but gets the job done.
Just a tremendous showing by Tri-Valley once again. They have followed the exact same script in all of their games. It's a really good one for the champions of the Pacific Southwest.
A 10-4 victory and lots of offense to go around once again, but our player of the game is Dylan Souza, brought to you by Farmers Union Oil Company and CHS Nutrition. 4 for 5 today, all base hits, comes around to score 3 times, exactly the productivity you're looking at from your leadoff man.
No doubt about it. Setting the table, knocking it down. These guys have some of the top run producers in this tournament. They can't do that if there aren't a ton of base runners on consistently. This Tri-Valley offense, an absolute machine, headed into a bye and the semifinals of the World Series.
It took 90-plus extra minutes to get this one going after the rain delay. However, worth the wait, especially for Tri-Valley fans. Tri-Valley goes 4-0 here in pool play. They earn a bye and an automatic trip to the semifinals on Friday. Tallahassee 3-1 and await their opponent in tomorrow's quarterfinals. We will take roughly a 30-minute break here about a 3:45 or so start. We are thinking for the start of our second game, Arkadelphia and Puyallup coming up. Battle of a couple of 0-3 teams trying to figure it out. Until then, for my broadcast partner Corey Brooks, I'm David Sugarman. We will see you back here in just a few on Beck Sports.